It's Friday. It's fun time on the National Hot Rod Association Mello Drag Racing Series. You're looking at the Bellagio of drag strips, the beautiful Z-Max Dragway here in Concord, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. It's the 4-wide Nationals. That in itself gets me very excited. Anytime you put 4 10,000 horsepower race cars on the racetrack going down at the same time, you're going to have a lot of fun. Alongside of Mike Dunn, I'm Dave Reeve. Todd Venny, that's right, of Alcohol Funny Car fame, is going to be joining us. Jamie Howe, John Kernan, the stat guy Lewis Bloom with all the numbers. A top fuel champion, Larry Dixon, in the booth tonight. We're just going to have a lot of fun. It's kind of like drag racing on the Barker Lounger on Fridays, and if you've not joined us, shame on you, because it's a little more
coming
laid back.
off and won at the Lucas race last week at Richmond, Dave.
And there you go, and here come the Pro Stock motorcycles. Trust me when I say this. If you think you have to run to the kitchen or maybe go to the bathroom, relieve yourself, you're going to want to do it now, because it goes by very, very quickly here at the 4-wides. These sessions are very, very tight, and in Pro Stock motorcycle, everybody chasing the teammates. John Hall and Matt Smith right now. John leading the way with that 6.846 second pass.
Yeah, I already have a Twitter question from you.
Oh, that's right. We're on Twitter. Well, most of us are.
Ooh, baby.
Just not
it's
that.
from Ooh, baby. Who do you think will go #1 this round? So we got the experts up there. Can John Hall hang on to it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I did my power rankings, and based on performance from Gainesville, he had the best bike out there. And but then I factored in reaction times, because that always plays a part with the motorcycles, and boy, it changed everything around.
Speaking of the power rankings, here they are, and I'd like to note number 3 in there. And power rankings, which are special this week too. 4 wide, you had to go 4 deep, right?
Absolutely, because the 5 performers were completely different. In fact, Steve Johnson and Scotty Polachek weren't even in the top 5 based on performance. So I factored in reaction times and did a point system similar to the performance on eliminations. And when that, boy, it changed all around. And you can see why some of them were much better. And Hedger Rana Jr. really was the best. He had a very well-rounded bike. Thing was, performance-wise, he was very good on the lights. Just he came up against Steve, and Steve laid down a very good run and took him out in the semis.
Speaking of Steve Johnson, you're kind of in on that tune-up there. That's your good buddy from way, way back. He's got a giant 8-foot #1 on the side of his trailer. He is milking this point leader thing for all it's worth.
I know. I mean, the rest of the bike crowd's probably hoping they can peel it off his trailer this week, and he's hoping he can leave it on until next year.
There's the final round from Gainesville.
Yeah, what a great opportunity for Steve. And how about you putting Steve in the power rankings because of his driving? I love that. He did such a great job last week, and he's, I mean, a small team, independent. You don't see any big sponsors on that car, especially being one of the Lone Rangers on a Suzuki.
And he's taken that little gold man with him everywhere. He's got other ones, but he said he basically took it home, introduced it to the rest, and ever since then it's been dirt track, and it's been golf, and it's been out to Vegas, it's been to school, it's been to every place, and it's here again this weekend. Mike, lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4, thank you. I love that telestrator.
You're welcome.
You're chomping at the bit. Fire.
I'm not confused anymore. Thank you, Michael.
I'm there
2
for
things. Larry, your buddy is the oldest Pro Stock motorcycle race winner. He's over 53. And when I looked that up,
53.
I was like, he's 53? That can't be possible.
He acts all of 14, 15.
Well, how about my kids think he's like somewhere between the ages of... Well, at first they thought he was 12, and then they're like, no, he's got to be 16 because he drives. And me and my wife, Allie, were going, how come you think he's so young? Well, because he's a lot more funner than you guys.
Oh,
how about that, huh?
That's a kiss of death for a parent.
That means you're doing your job, Larry.
Thank you very much.
That's what that means.
Do you not? Because it's so embarrassing. So the more embarrassed you get, the more awful I'm going to be. Trust me.
I dance with
my job now is to embarrass you.
I dance when my wife asks me questions.
Hey, Dave, you mentioned that Steve has been carrying that Wally all over the place. He's also been using it to try and get sponsors, and he actually did pick up 2 additional sponsors for this weekend's race, including Town & Country Ford, Bruton Smith, whose company owns this racetrack. That was his very first dealership. He came on board with Steve this week.
Thank you, little gold man. Not Goldman, gold man. He's been doing some traveling with him. Well, obviously, it's a very delicate staging procedure here at the 4-wide Nationals. Mike, explain this to me.
Well, there's 2 Christmas trees that both in use, one between each pair of lanes. Now, each tree is fitted with blue LED pre-stage and stage units above the normal tree. The LED lights indicate driver position in lanes 1 through 4, which is left to right, looking down track. Now, once all 4 cars or bikes are staged, The regular tree will illuminate and cars and bikes will launch. So remember, the 4 lights up there, the one to the left, if you're in lane 3, you see the first one go over, that's lane 1, then lane 2, lane 3, lane 4. Obviously the same. Now, the question I have to you, Larry, is since I never did race it, I mean, I watched it in the procedure. What do you focus on? Because it's a little bit different focus with 4 different cars up there. Do you worry just about your light? And the other question is, do you like to go in first, or do you like to go in last, or does it matter?
My procedure, if mine worked, I would probably still be out there racing it this week. So I will give you my opinion on it. And really, you have to, how I do, I concentrate on the ambers, and I'm picking up the stages and pre-stages in my peripheral. So it's always there. You can see it, but you're not zeroed in on it and taking your focus away from your ambers. It's like you're zeroed in on the amber, and then you try and pick it up.
Now, is that different from the normal 2-car where because I used to do the same thing. I would go and I would look when the last stage light came on, whether I went in first or whether I went in second. Once the last stage light came on, I would go down and pick up my spot on the amber. But it seems like here, you would have to kind of go in stage, maybe pause a little bit so you weren't going in way ahead. And then, like you said, focus on the amber and then look out of your peripheral of the other guy's stage and just be ready for that amber light.
For me, it was easier when I was in one of the 2 center lanes, because your peripheral, you don't have to go out as wide. And you're only talking about 6 inches or something like that. But it does make a difference if you're in lane 1 or lane 4, how your peripheral to go to the far left or the far right of the staging bulbs. You got to
change things.
And the other thing that you have to think about too is when you're rolling forward, making sure that you know exactly what lane you're in, because
that's the critical part.
Yeah, because the tree's in the center, so you're used to looking at.
If you're in lane 2,
if you're one of the lane 2 or lane 3, you're
to the right side.
Yeah, and you're not sometimes.
If you're in 3, you're used to looking left. So you could be looking at 1.
So you really got to have a good feel for your car, know where you're at, really concentrate, letting your guys help you, bring you forward, so you know exactly where you are when the car rolls in, when you are staging.
It'll probably catch someone here, especially in the normally aspirated categories, Pro Stock Motorcycle, which is starting now, and Pro Stock. It usually does. Those are the guys that got to go in and put it up on the chip before the green light comes on.
How about it takes 3 seconds to do this, and it takes 7 minutes to explain it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way it always is, right?
You know what, Larry? It's funny you were talking about the problems in 1 and 4. Alan Johnson said that he has the most problems with lanes 2 and 3 as far as
just talking about
figuring out which one he's in.
So we kick things off, only going 2 wide with Junior Pippin and Hector Arana Jr. So they only have to look at the farthest left stage light and the farthest right stage light in this case.
Tell Alan next time you talk to him, he just needs to pay attention to the lowest ET on the board, because normally that's his.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, take a look at Hector Arana Jr. Had an oil leak in the first session, did not get to make a run, so let's see why he is first out. And he steps it up nice.
Number
pass.
1 as far as Junior Pippin, 21st. He'll come back tomorrow, 16th now.
Yeah, nice to see Junior Pippin back in the racetrack. His wife Lisa was diagnosed with breast cancer 2 years ago Thursday. She's doing well. They're back at the racetrack for the first time. First time she's traveled, and they're hoping to race about 9 or 10 events this season. Good news for the Pippin family.
Absolutely.
And take a look at Junior. That bike was really washing out towards the center. He was hanging on, trying to keep it over off of them blocks. He was able to do that, but took away a lot of laps time, though.
Junior Pippin that owns a fleet of 36 dump trucks. Owns them out of Georgia.
How many do you have?
Just one. I haul my kids around and dump them off at school, dump them off at track practice, dump them off at soccer practice.
I'm sure you guys talk
And they
about...
dump me off at the airport. Get out of here, Dad.
I'm sure you guys talk about this with the motorcycles when they're driving left and driving right. You know, how the car, look at me, I'm a car guy, right? How the bike, right? You can load the wheelie bar to help steer it off the starting line, and then you can adjust the axle, you know, one way or the other to help the bike steer one way if it's got a habit of driving one way or the other.
Left to right on your screen right now, it will go Angie Smith, Michael Ray, Hector Arana, Justin Finley.
I'm glad we got widescreen.
First race of the year for Angie Smith. You saw Candy.com on the back of her bike. That's an internet magazine. Be sure to check them out as Mr. Michael Ray goes to the top of the heat. 6.816 for George Bryce, who's daily driver is parked right behind his pit. Beautiful Corvette Stingray 2014. It's stunning.
I saw it.
They are still looking for sponsorship. Michael Ray told me, he says they are close to getting that big sponsor. Hope to have an announcement in the next couple of weeks. But he also said if this falls through, they're still committed to run the whole season, whether or not they get a big sponsorship.
Don't forget, we're hanging out on Twitter. If you got any questions, Larry Dixon's in the booth tonight. Hopefully, we're going to have Todd Vinny join us in just a little bit, of Alcohol Funny Car fame and stat guy extraordinaire, along with our, of course, stat guy. There's where you can hit us up at. And Larry Dixon, you're on there as well at
Dixon Top Fuel.
So fire away. And speaking of Twitter and questions, Stat Guy has one.
Hey, Larry Dixon, you've seen all the greats in pro stock motorcycle, people who have unfortunately passed away, like Dave Schultz and John Myers. Who do you say is the best pro stock motorcycle racer you've ever seen?
Ooh, boy. Yeah, you know, like I was such a fan of John Myers, but probably the coolest, Terry Vance.
Oh yeah, yeah. He rode top fuel bikes. That's why.
Yeah, he absolutely did it all, and you know, kind of Frank Manzo style, and won his last race and retired.
Flashback to the first session. Watch the bike all the way on the right side of your screen. That's Elvira Karlsson out of Sweden. Youngster trying to get over here and get herself established. She's having problems getting that bike to stop. Her Suzuki is going to find its way all the way to the gravel track.
And not too bad, though. Not unusual to see those brakes go away on motorcycles. Right? In an effort to keep everything light, sometimes
and then
problems again now.
I've heard of those riders sometimes waving to the camera down there and forgetting to use the brakes and then drive it into the sand trap too. On occasion, I've heard.
We used to do that in the funny cars. Everybody says, "Hey, will you wave to me on the run?" I said, "Yeah, right when I stop on the burnout, I'll wave to you."
That leaves us with Fred Camarena, Joe DeSantis, and Katie Sullivan. Well,
whoa, hang on.
Right turn there, missed the blocks. Good job, Katie. Now let's see if these two, DeSantis or Camarena, change the timer around at all. Not very much. They will be outside of the top 16, which, by the way, that's also in action this week. The top 12 times that normally carry over, that's done this weekend. Everybody's going on their best run. Everybody gets one shot in each lane.
It's old school.
It's old school drag. We like old school drag racing, absolutely.
But four wide.
But four wide, yeah.
Thank you. It's like back in the day, right, Mike?
Back in the day.
Talk about is when the bike is steering one way or the other, and you can't just steer it like you would in a car and turn the steering wheel, because the front end's real light, so you're having to lean it, and when you lean it, that tire's square, so now you don't have all the contact surface as well too, and so you're doubly fighting.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pro stock motorcycle point leader Steve Johnson is on the racetrack right now, along with Scotty Polachek and Jimmy Underdahl and Mike Berry.
And I mentioned earlier about Steve getting 2 sponsors. I only mentioned the one. He also picked up Full Throttle Power Sports, also a local company here in Charlotte, just from carrying around that Wally with him for the last month.
Win on Monday, or win on Sunday, sell on Monday, right?
Yeah. Win on Monday, carry the gold man around for 5-6 weeks, get sponsors. I like it. All right, a quick check of the time slips here. Find Scotty Polachek with the best, 684.3, but that's going to move him up to the number 3 spot. Not sure what's going on with scoring and timing right now. That shows him in 14th, but Scotty with that 84.3 goes up to the number 3 spot. Everybody still chasing Michael Ray.
See where the points leaders qualified? The bump.
And it counts this week.
That's right. Got to go fix that bike there, Larry.
That's a strategy.
Are you going to tune him up?
I stayed away from him last week at Gainesville, and all of a sudden he won first round, second round, and I wasn't going to go around all day long. Yeah, I didn't. Then we had so much time in between the semis and the finals. I thought he's going to wear himself out, and I wanted to talk to him, and then I'm like, I don't want him to think any more than he already is. So I stayed away, and look how good a job he did without me.
Batman, that's Sean Gann.
Batman's been working on his engine combinations that they've been lacking the first half of the track.
Batman lane 4, Andrew Hines lane 3, Adam Arana lane 2, Eddie Krawick lane 1.
We got the Harleys, and we go back and talk about the power rankings and performance. Andrew Hines had a very good motorcycle, but both he and Eddie struggled on their reaction time. The bikes didn't leave it. When I looked at that, gave me a pretty good idea that the bikes just weren't reacting for whatever changes they made over the winter. Jamie went over and talked to them and confirmed that that's pretty much what's happening. They're trying to get the bikes to leave a little bit quicker and get that better reaction time, because they were running some very good numbers down in Gainesville.
So a quick check of scoring and timing finds a couple of wacky things there. Some red lights that don't count as long as you take the tree. You can still get your time. Eddie Krawick, 6:87.3 from Q1, will keep him in the number 6 spot. Not sure what happened to him on that particular pass, but it takes a little adjusting for all of us to kind of get used to what we're watching, keeping in mind that as we get towards Sunday, we'll race in quads again. The first 2 that cross the finish line advance to the next round. That is until the final, when the guy that crosses the finish line is the national event winner. So, struggles getting John Hall started, but
that's a tough one. Hey, when you go into a final round, you could win, runner-up, or be a semi-finalist.
And obviously in drag racing, this is the only time where you could actually go through the first 2 rounds, technically lose, but as long as you're second, you'll advance and you can win the final, and win 1 round technically, and win a national event.
There was one year I kept racing Sean Langdon.
Yeah.
Kept beating him.
Well, then,
what do I got to do?
Spencer Massey last year, I think he might have lost the first 2 rounds and came back and won the race in the final.
Yeah.
And Trump beat him by 3/10,000 of a second or something in the semis, and he advanced because Spencer was second and he went on to win.
John Hall, Chaz Kennedy, Matt Smith, and Jerry Savoie. Savoie in lane 3. Best time slip out of that pair belongs to John Hall, 6:85.7. Put him up to 4th. And guess what? Just that quick, Pro Stock Motorcycles' second qualifying session is done. And Michael Ray holds on to number 1 after day 1 with that 6.816 second pass. Nice job by all the drivers. There with that difficult staging procedure. Behind Michael, it's Hector Arana Jr. On down to Chaz Kennedy in his 5th race for George Bryce. Jerry Savoie, Mike, down to 12, 692.6, but
Steve
keep
Johnson
in mind
on the
that
bump.
top 12 does not apply to this race. And Steve Johnson, your man, can sleep easier tonight with that gold man.
Well, it's a strategy. You know, if everybody cooperates, he'll be able to race Michael Ray first round.
So you see the riders that will have 2 more opportunities tomorrow. Those are the ones represented 17th on down. It's time now. Drag Racing Series. Brittany, by the way, has top speed so far in Top Fuel. Pro Stock Motorcycle highlights. You got to go to session 2 in a group with Angie Smith and her new sponsor, Hector Arana, Justin Finley. It's Michael Ray who goes 6:81.6 to grab the number 1 spot for the star team, of course, led by George Bryce. The standings, they remain the same as Michael Ray sits atop the heap. The defending event champion Hector Arana Jr. 2nd, Scotty Polacek 3rd, on down to Chaz Kennedy, Rookie of the Year contender, also for Star and 8.
And speaking of event champions, we've only had 1 event this year. That's the Gator Nationals. Steve Johnson won, and he's not even on the list. Katie Sullivan bump spot with a 696.
Behind Steve Johnson, Freddie Camarina, Elvira Karlsson, the 18-year-old from Sweden, Justin Finley, Joe DeSantis, and Junior Pippin have only 1 more shot. Here's Steve Johnson. What's going on inside of his head right now is the Gainesville winner and point leader. Well, how long will he hold on to that points lead? Has to get qualified. Only 2 bikes in the first group to come to the racetrack. It's Justin Finley, back for the first time since a substance abuse suspension. He will be over in lane 2. and lane 1, it's Junior Pippin. A great story there. His wife, Lisa, a couple years ago got diagnosed with breast cancer. She's doing better. They're at the races. Junior trying to get qualified. Won't do it here. Justin Finley, did he run the number good enough to get in? No, he did not. So Katie Sullivan remains on the bump, 6.961 seconds.
Mentioned earlier the fact that Spencer Massey has won the last 2 events here at the 4-wide, and that requires a lot of extra focus, some extra pressure as well. Spencer, as a driver, what do you go through to prepare yourself for this event?
Well, obviously, we only run here once a year at the 4-wide, so it's very critical on the staging procedure, doing the burnouts. It's real time critical on all these race cars that we can get up there, stage the car at the same time. But as a driver, it's extra pressure. I mean, there's so much more on the line because there's 3 other guys trying to beat you rather than 1 other guy or girl. And I like it. I like the pressure. I feel like I come out of my shell whenever there's more pressure. I mean, we won here the last 2 years in a row, so if we can keep the momentum going, I mean, I would love it. I mean, just being able to race here is amazing, being a part of the 4-wide nationals. But when you win, it makes it that much sweeter.
He has one more chance at qualifying. Currently, he's in the bottom half of the field in 9th.
The NHRA, the most diverse organization on the planet, does not discriminate for age. How about this? 72-year-old Joe DeSantis is in lane 1. 18-year-old Swede Elvira Karlsson in lane 2. DeSantis scheduled to be in lane 1, didn't make it. Katie Sullivan and Fred Camarena. Fred with problems. Lane 2 is going to get there first. That's Elvira, who unfortunately is going to come up short as well.
Missed it by 0.04 of a second. Katie Sullivan's remained on the bump.
As we take a look at Steve Johnson getting ready to fire, he knows the number he needs to beat. He's starting that Suzuki coming up in just a moment. Time to remind you that the NBA Sunday Showdown features East versus West. It's two of the top teams in the league. Hit the court at 1. Kevin Durant and the Thunder head to the field house to take on Paul George and the Pacers. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown presented by Speed State Gear. It all starts at 12:30 on ABC. Well, it's been an exciting month for Steve Johnson, who's taken the gold man with him everywhere. Courtesy of his Instagram account, he was seen at the LAX airport, flying all over, went to Vegas, actually got a first-class seat right there, Mike. Shoot, we can't even get those.
I thought he was on a budget.
And then here at the track, when the hauler got here and they wondered where to park, the gold man said, it's right here. It's all spelled out. And look on the side of his trailer. That's Steve for you. Little 12-foot number 1 to
12-foot tall.
recognize him as the point leader. But now, the oldest winner in Pro Stock motorcycle history and current point leader, well, he'll give that up here if he doesn't get qualified. As you take a look at the other professional class winners, the oldest in NHRA history.
Just talking with Steve just a moment ago, he says they have taken a huge swing at it right here as far as the tune-up is concerned. He looks very, very nervous. He says we're either going to be heroes or zeros.
Along with him, Hector Arana, Jimmy Underdahl, and Angie Smith, lanes 1 through 3. Lane 4, that's where Steve Johnson's feeling the heat. To the clock, 7 flat for Steve Johnson. For the first time in NHRA history, a national event winner goes to the next race, DNQs.
Wow. And he's no longer going to be the points leader either, because Scotty Polachek, by qualifying, will take over the point lead. But Steve Johnson, right side of your screen, had a good 60 foot. He was 106. Just for whatever reason, as he said, the thing just wasn't running down track. And even though the launch, you see, it was very good right there. The thing just fell off from half track on.
Batman, that is Sean Gann, who is not going to be making this pass. That's because the field is set. California Kate Sullivan is on the bump and will race with a 6.961. The 3 riders on the track, Screaming Eagle Harley Davidson of Andrew Hines. Mike Berry in lane 3, and Adam Arana. The Buell in lane 4. That's a little more like it, side by each.
Nice run by
How about
Andrew.
that? 84-2 for Andrew Hines, who moves up to the number 3 spot. Gary Gerald.
Well, we check in with Steve Johnson, and I don't know what you can say in a situation like this. It's never happened before where you win one and the next week you don't make the show. And I know you took a big swing. Any idea what happened?
I was hoping you could tell me. I'm not laughing because I'm happy. I feel horrible for my guys. We have I just feel bad. It's I don't know. It's the same motorcycle. It's obviously this different guy that's making the decisions. And I love this track. I love the racing. I love everything. But I'm not the smartest guy. And as soon as I get rich and famous, I'm gonna hire Larry Dixon or Jeff Purley, or I'm gonna hire somebody fancy that knows how to make these things go. But we didn't have what we had in Gainesville.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry about that, pal. I know you'll keep plugging.
Oh yeah.
Part of that could be the fact that the Suzuki's got that new combination, the same combination that's in under the bike of Jerry Savoie, who will be in lane 1. Matt Smith, the reigning champion, in lane 2. In lane 3, Eddie Krawick, Andrew Hines' teammate, Chaz Kennedy, running for a Rookie of the Year title on that Buell. Best time slip of that group, Matt Smith. He went 6.85.6. Best run of his weekend, moves into 6th.
We're starting to see these guys get on the launch. Matt Smith was 105 and 60 foot, and 106 in the previous group. and they couple that up with a nice top-end charge, and they're moving up in the standings.
And the final group, when you race 4 wide, they go by very, very quickly, as I mentioned, will be Scott Polachek, who stands to become the new point leader, but you have to leave with that point leader to get credit. Hector Arana Jr., the defending champion, the 4 wide race. John Hall, the Indy winner. And Michael Ray, who's out of this pass, but trying to hold on for second consecutive #1 to start the year, and with a 683.5 pass. Best of the weekend for Hector Jr., but only good for #2. It's going to be Michael Ray, the #1 qualifier, heading into eliminations tomorrow. Eliminations, Mike Dunn, which we have yet to say, features the fact that if you're first or second in the first 2 rounds of racing, you advance. 5th time Michael Ray's the #1 qualifier. He picks his lane with Katie Sullivan, Mike Berry, Chaz Kennedy. Scotty Polachek picks his against those 3 riders.
On the other side, you got Hector Arana Jr. has a very good motorcycle with Eddie Kramer in his group. And how about Andrew Hines and Hector Arana and Matt Smith? Some big names in that.
Well, it's been a couple of toughest challenges the men and women of the NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series face here at the 4 Wide Nationals is staging. It's ultra tough in the pro stock categories. You got to push the RPMs up, but in nitro, it's just stab it and go, and the fans love 40,000 horsepower. Pro stock motorcycle coming to the starting line right now. Michael Ray, the #1 qualifier for the 5th time, and Scotty Polachek pick their lanes in their group of 4. Mike, that's Scotty Polachek, the pro stock motorcycle point leader.
How about that? I'm looking at that group on the bottom. You got 3 former Mellow Yellow champions and Sean Gann.
And who's not on that list? And Scotty Polachek's the new point leader. That's right, it's the Gainesville winner, who did have a great 4-week stretch with his 6th gold man in his career. Took him home to where he lives now and introduced him to everybody. And the next thing you know, gold man's in first-class seats, traveling to Las Vegas and going everywhere, and then, of course, helping the team find their pit spot. Steve having a lot of fun with it. Put the 12-foot #1 on the side, but that #1, somebody's working on taking it off the side right now. He's no longer the point leader because of that DNQ. So the first 4 bikes. Buell in lane 1, John Hall. Scotty Polachek also aboard a Buell in lane 2. The Suzuki of Jerry Savoy, that's the Alligator Racer in lane 3. Adam Arana, in a long time since the MAV TV riders won a round of racing. Oh, good luck. Thank you for electronics. That'll allow me to tell you that Scotty Polachek and John Hall have just moved on.
Tell you what, take a look at the Ultramo. There was only 7 thousandths difference between #1 and #2, which was Scotty Polachek and John Hall at the top of your screen. And how about Jerry Savoy? He was right there. Just a great race.
Jimmy Alon comes from Sweden. He's been filling in so capably for Greg Anderson while he continues to recuperate from that heart surgery just at the start of the season. Obviously, your first 4-wide experience. How are you finding?
Well, so far it's been good. I was actually here in 2010 with my own car, but they got it better set up with the staging lights now in the procedure, and everybody's more used to it, so it goes pretty smooth up there. But you got to be careful. You got to be on your A game.
Having fun?
Oh my gosh, this is the best you can do. I mean, having fun out here, and all these nice people around me, and Summit and all these people. I love it.
Great, thanks.
Thanks.
Now, Batman fire suit, that has to belong to Sean Gann, who will be in lane 4 on the far right of your screen. Lane 1, all the way to the left, Andrew Hines, no round wins. 4 wide. In lane 2, Matt Smith, who won the first 4 wides. Lane 3, the guy who was runner-up to him, Hector Arana Sr. Oh, 2nd consecutive race, red light for Matt Smith in lane 2. Andrew Hines is going to get the stripe first. He'll be the first to move on, as does Hector Arana, who does it on a hole shot. 693.3 beats the quicker but losing 692.7 of Sean Gann. Well, still one more group pro stock motorcycles to come. In fact, 2 groups to come, and then it's going to be time for the nitro guys once again. Antron Brown is warming up his car. He is in top fuel, and he will be in a great quad coming up here. Great action. It happens in a heartbeat. Don't blink or you'll miss it here. Charlotte, North Carolina, 4 Wide Nationals. The NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series is going 4 wide at the 4 Wide Nationals, a beautiful Z-Max Dragway, Charlotte, North Carolina, working pro stock motorcycle. But on Monday, it's a doubleheader of Major League Baseball on ESPN. It's 7 o'clock. It's the Braves versus the Phillies. Then in the nightcap, You better bring your A game. It's the Athletics and the Angels, Monday night at 10 on ESPN. Lane 1 through 4, top of your screen, Michael Ray. Mike Berry in lane 2, Katie Sullivan in lane 3, Chaz Kennedy in lane 4. Got it?
Got it.
We hope so.
Red light for Katie.
That's Katie holding on to a crossover.
Yep.
2 and 4 are going to produce the winners here. It's Chaz Kennedy.
There's an upset. What happened to Michael Ray? Number 1 qualifier's gone.
Wow, how about that group right there?
That's an upset.
The 8 and 9 move on. Katie Sullivan was the 16 qualifier, as you mentioned, Mike. Mike Ray, number 1 done.
Katie went red. She was the first one to go, and then obviously we saw, we assumed that Michael Ray had some big-time problems. But take a look at Katie. Right at that point, she knows she's not going to save it. She's already out of the throttle. She just let it drift between the blocks. Nice job there, actually. Take a look at Michael Ray right here. Let's see what he look at that. Probably just didn't shift, I think. Man, I hate when that happens. He had a good bike this weekend.
Number 1, both the races been done here in round 1 at the 4 wides. That will bring us to our final group of 4. Eddie Krawick in the Screaming Eagle, Vance and Hines, Harley Davidson in lane 1, Hector Aron and his Lucas Oil Buell in lane 2, Angie Smith. The new colors courtesy of Candy, the magazine. Check them out online in lane 3. Jimmy Underdahl, the Suzuki in lane 4.
Well, right now, run for run, lane number 2, Hector Rana Jr. I think he's had the best bike in Gainesville and through qualifying here. Very consistent, making very good runs. Just came up short to Steve Johnson in the semifinals at Gainesville. Otherwise, I think he possibly could have got that. Setup is so critical on these motorcycles, and right now, obviously, 2 is watching the tree. Everybody's been pretty good. We've seen a couple red lights. That's not unusual, even when they're racing 2 wide in bikes, though.
Red line this time in lane 4, Jimmy Underdahl. It appears lanes 1 and 2 give the win, though, to Junior in lane 2, the defending event champion.
Nice run.
Low elapsed time of the race, 6.805 seconds. Track record for that elapsed time. Not far behind him, Eddie Krawick.
Very nice motorcycle. That thing's been making consistent runs. As long as they can do it 2 more times a day, he's definitely got a shot at it.
Time now for a Napa track fact back in the pits of one of Don Schumacher's race cars.
Yes, it's Tony Schumacher's crew. They're hard at work behind me. We're going to stay out of their way. I want to show you something that's new inside of Tony's cockpit here. What you would normally see inside of one of these are flat panels that go alongside the driver's legs. What they've done, though, starting this weekend, is they're custom molded carbon fiber pieces here that go to where Tony's legs would be. The reason they did this is that because when something goes wrong in the event of a crash, the driver's knees knock side to side. Tony's broken his leg. He sprained his knee before, so they went ahead and did this. This way he can't hit his legs on anything. Keeps the driver safe. It actually only weighs 1 pound, so it doesn't add any additional weight to the car either.
So Mike Green likes that. Crew chiefs always weighing everything. Semifinals now for Pro Stock Motorcycle. According to the Lucas Oil Ladder, find John Hall and Hector Arana Jr., the 2 riders that will pick their lanes in their groups of 4. Also sees 2 lower qualified bikes move into the semis. Nice.
Dave, we've been going through here looking for the biggest smile. I think I found it here. Chaz Kennedy, 19 years of age. How good does this feel right now to go to this 2nd round in this crazy format?
For someone that's never been past first round, it really feels almost like a race win to me back when I was doing sportsman stuff. I can't thank everybody at the shop enough. Ron, Greg, everybody that's a big part of this whole program. My mom, my dad, George and Jackie Bryce, everybody. All our sponsors, Jay Warner, Gainesville, Harley Davidson, everybody that's helping us along to keep the season going is just everything to me. And I really appreciate everything and everybody that's helping me out. Eric Anders has been giving me some words of advice to help me be prepared for the 4-wide race, and it's really working out for me.
Any nerves?
No way.
Let's do it. He's too young. He's too happy to have nerves.
And he's a respectful young man. This year of 24, the semifinals stack up with John Hall picking his lane first in that 4-pack of racers, then Hector Arana Jr. in that grouping. Scotty Polachek is in lane number 1. He took over the Pro Stock points lead when Steve Johnson, the Gainesville winner, failed to qualify. John Hall is in the lane next to him. Yeah, the Indy winner from
2013. Then there's Mike Berry from Littleton, Colorado. Been a long time finding success for him, but he's got an opportunity if he's first or second here. And Chas Kennedy, potential Rookie of the Year candidate for George Bryce. Two red lights in lanes 3 and 4. That's going to hand it to lanes 1 and 2. Scotty Polachek, John Hall. Teammates going for Matt Smith Racing.
Well, that's got to take a little bit of pain from Matt Smith after he red lit in the first round, because his teammates John Hall and Scotty Polachek, who also had very good motorcycles going back to the first race in Gainesville, are able to advance. Two nice runs. John Hall with a nice 686, Scotty Polachek with a 690 elapsed time.
Gary Gerald.
With Jimmy Lars Allen, once again, the man from Sweden has got a chance to go after his first Wally. What's the best advice you've gotten from Greg Anderson?
Drive it like you stole it. That's what he said, and that's what I've been trying to do. It was a little hard in the beginning, but we're starting to yell now, and seeing your face a couple of times here on Sunday doesn't hurt at all. You're the prettiest looking guy right now.
Wow, how about that?
Hey, we all want to be like Gary Gerald, trust me.
Don't we?
Nice job by Jimmy. Back-to-back races with 2-round wins. Beauty is the third one here, if he can get it, would be the national event Wally. Eddie Krawick, one of 2 Screaming Eagle, Vance and Hines Harley-Davidsons in this group of 4. Hector Arana Jr. aboard the Lucas Oil Buell. Next to him will be dear old dad, Hector the second. And in lane 4, Andrew Hines, who's done everything but win rounds at this race until now.
So you got the Harleys and the Aranas. 4 very good motorcycles on the starting line right now.
Andrews and the Harleys, yeah.
I think the better of the teams would be Andrews a little bit better than Eddie, and Junior's has been a little bit better than his dad.
Who's better on the tree? 4 green lights.
It was late, though.
One look at the Harley-Davidsons. 1 and 4. Eddie and Andrew are going to the finals. So it's Matt Smith Racing that will take on the Screaming Eagle, Vance and Hines Harley-Davidsons. 2 Buells, 2 Harleys. A shot in the arm for what this team needed. They revamped everything over the last couple of years.
And they ran well. And the difference was this week and coming in is they had better reaction times. I think the cars are reacting a little bit better off the start line than they were in Gainesville, and still making that good horsepower on the other end.
So as previously talked about, Matt Smith Racing versus the Harleys, where Eddie Krawick will pick his lane first. Wow. It has been exciting today in the 4 wide nationals. But next time around, Gary Gerald, in the finals, you have to be first. That's the only one we're looking at next.
It gets here awful quick, doesn't it? On a Sunday afternoon in Charlotte, the 4-wide format, it keeps everybody buzzing. Getting all-important hat change here for John Hall. You're going to a final with a chance for a Wally. Assess your day thus far, please.
Yeah, great day. It's always a great day when you're running for a Wally, and I've been battling some pollen issues, so I think a Wally will help that.
Yeah, allergies, boy, a lot of folks have been battling that. Scott Polachek, any concerns, apprehensions, problems for you and your camp?
We're just happy to have this MSR team, Johnny and I, in the final against the Harleys. Racing these S&S Buell motors, you know, NHRA, Mellow Yellow. This place is awesome. I love this guy. We're doing great.
Well, the guys right behind you will be your opposition in the next round. We'll chat with them in just a moment.
Down in Sean Langdon's split, the normal maintenance
duo here. We'll start with Andrew Hines. You were looking at your timesheet and you said, I think I got to go the other way on my tune-up. Can you explain?
Well, I went one way, and now I'm going to go the other. So we left his bike alone, made a few tweaks on mine, and it ran okay. Don't get me wrong. It just ran okay. I lost a little bit 60 foot, but it's not putting up the mile an hour that I want. So get him tuned up for the final round, and hopefully our Harley-Davidsons will turn around 2 lights, and that'll mean we're a winner and runner-up.
No speed secrets being shared with the television folks here. Eddie, meanwhile, what's it going to take not only to beat your teammate, but the 2 other challengers?
I think consistency in a good motorcycle. You know, the main thing is hit the tree and be on your game. You know, you got 3 possible other people that could mess up or mess you up. So there's a couple wrenches thrown into the mix here, but you know, good thing is we got our Harley-Davidsons going to the final round here. Andrew and I are excited. We got good race bikes, and we're excited for this season.
See you in a while.
Well, earlier in the broadcast, you heard John Force talk about how your brain can get scrambled here.
Well, is now time to find out who will be the last person standing. Before this, it was all about first or second. But this is the finals of the 4-wide nationals, where only the driver that crosses the finish line first, or in this case, the rider, will get that national event win. 2 Harleys, 2 Buells. Eddie Krawiec in lane 1, Andrew Hines in lane 2, Scotty Polacek in lane 3, John Hall, the Indy winner, in lane 4.
And while Matt or Angie Smith are not in this final round, the 2 of them did go testing last week, and it did apply to both John Hall and Scotty Polacek's bikes. Scotty Polacek, though, he could leave here with the points lead. Even if that happens, he does not have the funding at the moment to compete for the full season. So as I was saying, Scotty Polacek, now that the burnouts are complete, he's still looking for funding to finish out this full season. So he could leave at the points lead, but not necessarily going to be out here all year.
Well, a win here would certainly help out. Would be his first. He'd also leave with the points lead.
You've got 4 very good motorcycles on the starting line right now. Take a look at Eddie Krawiec and Andrew Hines. The Harleys have ran very well, and I want to correct myself a little bit. Eddie Krawiec really has a good motorcycle going into elimination. He was just so-so in Gainesville, so-so in qualifying, but then he ran almost low ET in the first round and then made another quick run in the second round.
Guaranteed to have a first-time pro stock motorcycle 4-wide winner in under 7 seconds. Green across the board. Trouble in 4. Harleys go 1 and 2. Give it to Andrew Hines. He's won championships. He's won the U.S. Nationals. He's never won the 4-wide till now.
Wow, how about that? John Hall had a great reaction time. Scotty Polacek was second off the line. The Harleys were almost dead even, but had the horsepower on the other end as Andrew Hines was able to get the win over Eddie Krawiec by about half a bike length.
And Matt Hines, not only a win, but a 1-2 for you guys. A lot of attention put onto these bikes. What will this do for the team's momentum?
Oh, we've had a big upswing. I got a couple wins at the end of last year, and we just put our nose to the grindstone over the winter, and everybody pulled their weight and worked hard. And we got a new guy, Mike, on the team. It's his first win, and like I said, all the guys at the shop, man, they really did an awesome job getting us everything we needed to come out here and win a race.
Congratulations.
Andrew Hines, I know you appreciate the history of this sport. Your family's been so immersed in it. You've just tied the late John Myers with your 33rd career win. That's a major accomplishment. Tell us what you're feeling right now.
This is a tremendous feeling of respect for my entire crew and all the guys back at Vance and Hines. My machine shop, Mike Scott, Matt Myers, Dave Schmecker, Georgie Jr. It's been a long road. We worked our butts off the last 5 weeks to try and get these V-Rods to perform better. We came in here. I've never had a round win at this 4-wide race, and we got my first round win, not to mention a third and technically a fourth, if you can call it that. But I wish my wife Tanya and son Declan could be here. This is amazing. I'm sure they're jumping up and down listening to the radio cast. And man, what a great job by our team. This is we struggled on Friday, put some big speed up there, but couldn't get off the starting line. And today we pulled it together and got 2 bikes that we're going to go celebrate in the winter circle now.
He said he was going to tweak the tune-up. I think it worked real well.
Round wins now. I had 8 or 9 last year. Woo!
And that 33rd win for him, also tied for 3rd on the all-time Pro Stock motorcycle win list. And those Vance and Hines guys know how to get the job done. Pro Stock now begins to roll in. The first opportunity for the ladies to grab national event win number 99. The driver that will have that option, of course, is Erica Enders Stevens. Jimmy Lund is from Sweden. He'll be in lane 1. Shane Gray from right here in North Carolina will be in lane 2. Erica, that huge opportunity to go back-to-back. Vincent Nobile in the new Camaro. Guaranteed first-time 4-wide winner also coming at you here in Pro Stock Car.
I was talking to Erica's crew chief, Ricky Jones, as he was preparing the car for this final round matchup. He told me the competition is so close, the only thing he can do is put his setup in the car he knows will get down the track. So, after hearing that, Erica said it's up to her to do her job on the starting line and then to hit all the shift points right.
Well, here's the trophy that could be handed out today. It will not go to Eric Enders Stevens. Perhaps Alexis DeJoria. If she has that opportunity, it means Erica has won. Stat guy, you got more on Jimmy Olund.
He'd be the 4th non-North American to win a race in the pro classes. Kenji Okazaki from Japan, David Grubnik from Australia, and Kala Belushi from United Arab Emirates.
And Mike, the first opportunity for a driver that technically was second across the stripe in the first 2 rounds can win. Shane Gray has that opportunity.
And he has the quickest run from the previous round, so he had lane choice. Erica was second. You look at Vincent Nobile, he was actually 4th quickest. So they're evenly matched right now. Erica and everybody needs to hit the tree just right.
Green again.
Oh, and Erica gets sideways.
99 will not come, courtesy of Erica.
Look
the win, Jimmy Olund.
Man.
How about Jimmy Olund from Sweden, the 58th different winner in pro stock car history? Greg Anderson, not so fast. You got yourself a driver.
Greg Anderson right in the middle of the celebration. Greg, first win for Jimmy, but you're supposed to be in this car at the next race. How big is this?
That is awesome. I'm so happy for that man right there. We picked the right guy. How can I tell you that any other way? Summit, I was scared to death when I tried to decide who to put in that car, and they thought I was crazy. I don't think they think I'm crazy anymore, but I'm trying to get back in the car at Houston, and geez, right now I feel like, how could I knock the guy out of the seat? He's doing a great job. He's winning races. I'll look like an idiot, but we'll see what the doctors say. Either way, I'm happy. Right now, this is the coolest thing I've ever felt. That is a neat deal right there. European Pro Stock champion wins in America.
So can we start the rumor there'll be 3 cars?
Just never know. I know I'm going to have a hard time getting the steering wheel out of his hand.
All right, congratulations to the team.
Jimmy, we just heard Greg Anderson say he may have a hard time getting the steering wheel out of your hands. How special is this as a European champion to come and win your first golden Wally here in the United States?
It's a dream come true, I can tell you that. I didn't need to beat 1, I need to beat 3 of them at the same time, and 3 times today. That's awesome. I can't say enough about Greg Anderson letting me drive this Summit Racing Camaro, and Ken and you, the Black, back in Vegas. It's awesome. And hi, Sweden, here we are. Woo!
Yes, I did it.
Well, it'll have to wait another weekend for the 100th win by a woman in NHRA competition. Eric Ender Stevens, a little bit of problem there on the starting line. What happened?
Yeah, we certainly didn't anticipate that as we had second lane choice there. But, you know, my guys continue to work on this car till the very last second till I fire up to pull in the water box. So hats off to them for digging deep for that one. And we were going after it. I mean, that's what it takes to win out here. Very happy for Jimmy Olund and that entire Summit team. He's a great driver, and that's cool for him to take one home to Europe. But for my entire Elite Motorsports, Elite Performance team, Royal Purple, Piranha Z, Engines Inc., all the people that make this possible, I'm so appreciative. And we're going to Houston, my hometown, next week. Maybe we can get it there.
We'll see you at home.
Well, Jimmy Olund just proved you can be an 8-time European Pro Stock champion. Shoot, you can win races in other series. But when you come over here and do it in the NHRA, it's hard to do, and it feels great when you get that accomplishment done.